And now, from Times Square Studios, Barbara Walters.
Good evening and welcome to 2020. John has the night off. Tonight, an exclusive special event, an interview with Martha Stewart. She breaks her silence for the first time since her indictment on stock sale charges and all the humiliating headlines. Because of her impending trial, Martha Stewart can't discuss in detail the charges against her, but there's plenty she can talk about, and she wants to make clear that she's speaking for herself, not for her company. You'll hear about the toll this case has taken on her personal life, her reputation, her business, and on her fortune. In a sense, Martha Stewart is now facing two courts, her criminal trial and the court of public opinion, in which she's been accused of being arrogant, abusive, and bad-tempered. What does she have to say to that? There is also the remarkable story of how Martha Stewart turned apple pie into a billion-dollar business and how it all came crashing down. We met at her home on Long Island, New York. For Martha Stewart, living is a lot less fun these days. Martha, you've said that gardening has gotten you through a lot of very hard times. Have you been gardening a lot lately?
I have been gardening a lot.
Her rise and fall are of Shakespearean proportion. In a male-dominated business world, she became a self-made corporate titan by being the most intimidating homemaker on earth.
Look at this little charming house. It only took 15,000 man-hours to make. You actually know what you're doing.
The sheer scale of her media empire is staggering. There's her television show, magazines, newspaper columns, website, and thousands of products, all bearing her name, all selling her image of domestic perfection.
And it's a really good thing.
She's been called an American icon and the high priestess of homemaking.
This criminal case is about lying.
But now, the U.S. government calls her a criminal and a liar.
Martha Stewart is being prosecuted not because of who she is, but because of what she did.
In your wildest dreams, did you ever think that something like this could happen?
Not really. I thought that things were going along just great. A wonderful family, a beautiful daughter, a fantastic business, great work to do each and every day, and then something like this happens.
In June, embroiled in an insider trading scandal, Martha Stewart was charged with conspiracy, obstruction of justice, making false statements, and securities fraud because of a personal stock sale that saved her only a tiny amount of her fortune.
Martha, is there any plea deal you would accept?
This January, she faces trial, but she has already paid a heavy price. Her once pristine image has been seriously damaged. In the blink of an eye, she has lost control of her company and half her wealth. And if convicted of all charges, Martha Stewart, at age 62, could spend the next 30 years in prison. Is this the worst time of your life?
Well, I thought a divorce was the worst time of my life. This is far worse.
Before scandal and disgrace, her life played out like a great American success story. Many believe that Martha Stewart was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, but they would be wrong. 10 miles outside New York City is the working-class town of Nutley, New Jersey, where Martha Kostyra grew up, one of 6 children. It seems like a very pleasant place to have grown up.
Well, it's a real friendly street. Everybody knew everybody else. And I remember all the houses filled with kids, lots going on all the time. We used to sit on each other's front steps and talk and shoot the breeze.
And here's the house.
Yep, number 86.
Yeah.
And 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom.
Okay, 6 kids, and your mother and father, and the 1 bathroom.
Well, I had to get up really early to use the bathroom.
So that's why you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning now.
It might be. It might be.
Almost everything she does today, she says, she learned back home in Nutley. Tell me what your mother taught you. Tell me what your father taught you.
Mom was a very good homemaker. Everything to do with the domestic arts, Mom taught me.
Cooking?
Cooking, sewing, ironing, cleaning, mending, tailoring.
Could you make your own clothes?
Oh, yeah, we did, too.
Your coats, everything?
Everything.
Her father was known as a strict taskmaster and taught young Martha that every job had to be done right and to always strive for perfection.
Dad was more the artistic type and the gardener. I loved to garden with my dad.
So he taught you gardening and what else?
Well, everything else that had to do with keeping a home, like the plumbing, the electrical, the carpentry.
Was money tight?
Oh, yeah, it was, but we never knew it. We never knew that we were not well off. We never thought we were poor. We just knew that there wasn't a lot of expendable income.
As we drove through town, she spoke fondly of her beginnings and a simpler time. What's it like when you come back home here? What do you feel?
I feel nostalgic. I feel like I had a really nice, normal American childhood. Oh, there was where Morris Brothers was, and that was the most delicious candy store right there where Mudhole is.
She then took me to her high school, where it turns out Martha was a very busy girl. These were some of the clubs that Martha Stewart belonged to. Gym helper, honor society, dean's helper, guidance helper, Red Cross representative, I'm not kidding, guys, main office helper, art club, after school sports, Future Nurses of America, leaders 2 and 3, Latin club, Ushers club, debating club, homeroom representative, general service representative, bowling clubs, art editor of Gauntlet, student council, art staff.
Bowling was fun.
Martha! I mean...
Well, how else would I know? If I didn't belong to the Nurses Club, Future Nurses of America, how would I know whether I wanted to be a nurse or not?
So after school you went from club to club to club to club?
Oh, yes. And evenings, debating club. Oh, that was the most difficult club I ever joined.
Did you ever do nothing?
No, I don't think so.
Even then, she was ambitious and driven. At age 13, to earn extra money, she became a model. Her all-American good looks landed her in a variety of print ads.
Busy, active people.
And TV commercials.
Stop. Now you can order-proof your body.
Modeling also helped put her through Barnard College in New York, where at age 19, she fell in love and married Andy Stewart, a Yale law student. Soon after the birth of their daughter Alexis in 1965, Stewart traded in modeling for Wall Street. Why did you become a stockbroker?
I found it very exciting. I was fascinated with companies and the way they developed and built their businesses.
You were good.
Yes, I was good.
So, this beautiful blonde used to come in and make a lot of sales, and I hear wore short skirts.
Oh, sometimes hot pants, Barbara.
I heard that, and I couldn't believe it. You went out to get new clients wearing hot pants?
Well, no, I probably got the clients first. Well, that was the style.
I see. So you did very well.
I did.
On a more serious note, people ask today how you could have worked all those years in Wall Street and gotten in the jam you're in. They say, didn't you know the rules?
What I did was not against the rules, Barbara.
So that the fact that you worked in Wall Street was nothing that would have prepared you for what happened today?
Not at all.
When 2020 returns, a heartbreaking thing happened on the way to the top. Martha Stewart's husband walked out and married her personal assistant.
Was it your fault? In 1973, after 5 years as a successful stockbroker, Stewart left Wall Street. By then, she and her family were living in Westport, Connecticut, in a dilapidated farmhouse they painstakingly restored. They named it Turkey Hill. From here, a restless Martha would launch the next phase of her career.
I'm an odd combination of both creative and business, and I like both so much. And I started a little business called The Uncatered Affair, a catering business, with a friend, and we got lots of clients right away.
What made it so successful?
I think it was the unusual approach. We created tables laden with fruits and vegetables and unusual breads. We baked everything from scratch. We weren't afraid of being kind of opulent and lavish with food. And it was a new look, and it gave me the idea for my first book, which was Entertaining, which changed my life.
The art of entertaining means being creative. In 1982, at age 41, Stewart published her groundbreaking book, Entertaining, featuring her home, her recipes, and of course, Martha. The book exceeded all expectations. It seemed as if you had put your finger on the pulse of something in America that was needed. What was it?
I think it was to make housewives, homemakers, understand that what they were doing on a daily basis was something to be commended, applauded, looked at with happiness, rather than look at working around the house as housework. I started looking at it as homemaking.
You've called yourself a teacher. Yeah?
Oh, yes.
Okay, what are you teaching?
Cooking, entertaining, kids, babies. You have to know about them. Collecting, decorating, gardening, on and on and on. See, I never say, I say, oh boy.
You know what I say? I say, how do you learn everything? From souffles to gardening to plumbing to feeding chickens to making lampshades.
Well, you know what, Barbara? I like those subjects. You know, you get your kicks from interviewing Castro and Clinton. I get my kicks really from baking and gardening and showing and teaching.
I know people ask you this all the time, but is there anything that you can't do well?
Oh, there are many things that I
name them,
cannot
please.
do. I cannot fly a jet. I cannot hang glide.
Anything in the house. that
I'm
you
not
can't
a
do.
good plumber, and I'm not a good carpenter. I once tried to make a kitchen myself with a saw and a drill, and it didn't turn out
To make
real-
a whole kitchen?
Yes, a whole kitchen.
I see.
It didn't turn out too well.
Her marriage wasn't turning out well either. In 1987, just as her book Weddings was coming out, Martha's husband Andy left her and later married her assistant. Was it your fault? Did success cost you that marriage?
I think really what happened to our marriage is that after 27 years, which is a very long time, at that time it was more than half my life, we grew apart.
Did you have regrets?
Oh, I still have regrets.
How long did it take you to get over it?
Well, as I say, I don't think I'm over it even now.
What do you still feel?
I liked companionship daily. I liked getting up and making breakfast. I liked making dinner for someone. And now I have, of course, a lot of friends. I don't think it takes the place of a husband.
In 1987, with her marriage crumbling, Stewart was approached by Kmart with a promise to make her rich. The rest is retailing history. Through Kmart, Martha Stewart became more than a name, but a lifestyle, selling thousands of products from sheets to shower curtains.
This is a good thing for the gardener.
Her mantra, "It's a good thing," became a promise to consumers to trust her. Over the next decade, everything Stewart touched turned to gold. An award-winning TV show, 4 magazines, 46 books, newspaper columns, a catalog, and a website. In 1997, she gave her empire a name, Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia. With everything bearing your name, in retrospect, was that a wise thing to do?
One doesn't anticipate a disaster like this. But Martha Stewart has become a brand name. That Martha Stewart is also a person. That's me, Barbara. Martha is the complication. But other people have done the same kind of thing. Walt Disney, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein. Those are all people who have become well-known, well-respected brands.
So do you have time to get away and just... She often says her life is her work and her work is her life. Her relentless pace is legendary. As one observer wrote, she is as focused as a bullet in flight. You sleep 3 to 4 hours a night, and you still get up and feed the chickens?
We have very friendly chickens. Oh, we have chickens. They have to be fed.
And you get up and feed those chickens?
When I'm home, I check on my cats, 7, dogs, 2, canaries, about 50.
Why?
Chickens, about 100.
Oh, Martha.
They are part of my life. That's part of living for me, Barbara.
In 1999, Stewart made a triumphant return to Wall Street, where her career began. This time, to take her company public on the New York Stock Exchange. Not only did she ring the opening bell, she even catered the affair. What was that day like for you?
Quite euphoric for all of us at Martha Stewart Living. And for me in particular, it was extraordinary because my dreams of building a company that had the respect of the business world was very important.
The stock went through the roof.
Yes, it did that first day.
At that time, at the height, what were you worth?
A lot.
No, come on.
Well, over $1 billion.
So you were not a millionaire, but a billionaire.
Self-made.
Self-made billionaire.
Yeah.
Did your life change? Did you buy more chickens?
I remember riding up Madison Avenue thinking, gosh, you know, I actually could buy pretty much anything in these shops. But I didn't. I continued to concentrate on building a company.
It makes what happened today seem all the more difficult for you somehow to have achieved that height.
It hurts a lot, Barbara. I'm hurting.
There's such a bungee jump down.
Well, I am not a bungee jumper. I did not jump.
When 2020 returns,
Your lawyers have said that you're being made an example of because you're a celebrity and you're a powerful woman in a man's world. Do you think that's the reason? To understand the case against Martha Stewart, you have to begin with this man, Sam Waxel.
We gotta have people like you go to jail for what you did.
On December 26, 2001, Waxel, the founder of ImClone, a biotechnology company, learned that the government was about to reject the application of ImClone's promising cancer drug. Before that information became public, Waxel tried to unload millions of dollars worth of his own shares and tipped off some of his family to sell too. Those illegal sales would set in motion a stock trading scandal that would later envelop Martha Stewart. You met Sam Waxel, the CEO of ImClone Systems, when he was dating your daughter. He was almost 20 years older than she was. I also had heard that you dated him. What was your relationship with Sam Waxel?
Well, my daughter met him and dated him for about 2 years. He became a friend of the family, and I would attend events with him. But he's never dated Martha. Martha has never dated Sam. She did not date Waxel, but she did invest in his company, $80,000 in 1999.
Why did you buy shares in Sam Waxel's company, ImClone?
Well, at the time, I was very interested in in what that company was doing. And it was just one of many, many, many stocks that I owned.
Do you actively monitor and manage your own stocks?
Haphazardly.
On December 27, 2001, en route to a Mexican vacation, Martha Stewart stopped at this Texas airport and called her office. There was a message from Peter Bukanovic, her stockbroker, that read, Peter Bukanovic thinks ImClone is going to start trading downward. The government claims that Stewart returned the call but spoke to Bukanovic's assistant, Douglas Fanuel, who told her that Sam Waxel was trying to sell off his shares. The government says Stewart, being a former stockbroker, should have known that the tip was improper, yet she proceeded to sell all her shares. But Stewart claims she sold because of a pre-existing agreement with her broker to sell if the stock dipped below a set price. Records show after selling her shares, Stewart called Waxel to ask what was happening with ImClone, but he never called back that day. Because of her upcoming trial, Stewart couldn't discuss details of her case. Is there anything now that you would have done differently?
I don't think I would have gone on vacation on December 27th.
And returned a phone call?
And been a diligent business person and called my office.
How much money did you actually save by selling your ImClone stock the day before that announcement?
I think it amounted to approximately $40,000, about 0.006% of my net worth.
So this was not a big amount of money.
Not at all.
The Waxel ImClone sell-off set off alarms, which sparked investigations into others who had sold that day, including Martha Stewart. Over the next year, the Congress, the SEC, the FBI, and the U.S. Attorney's Office all started asking questions. Did you feel that things were spiraling out of control?
It seemed like a tremendous amount of attention focused on one particular person, when indeed, on December 27th, more than 7 million shares of ImClone were traded. I sold 3,900 shares.
No, I think they liked that they had me. And
Sam Waxhaw recently gave an interview in which he said that the prosecutors
could have Martha, they would be unbelievably happy campers.
Well, to me, that's a pretty unfortunate look at American justice. I don't think prosecutors should be happy campers. I don't think that the object of a investigation is to make one a happy camper.
Sam Waxhaw was convicted for insider trading and is now serving 7 years in prison. In June of this year, the federal government came after Martha Stewart, charging her not with insider trading, but with conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and making false statements. In essence, the government claims Stewart and her broker, who was also charged and pleaded not guilty, engaged in a cover-up, lying to investigators about her ImClone sale. Her broker's assistant originally backed their story, but later made a deal with prosecutors and will reportedly testify he was pressured to lie about the trade. But the most serious charge facing Stewart is securities fraud. Last year, shortly after news of the scandal broke, Stewart made public statements declaring her innocence. Saying she was innocent, prosecutors claim, was a crime. They say those statements were false, intended to deceive investors so she could prop up her company's falling stock price. Some legal observers say the charge is unprecedented. As you sit here today, can you tell me if you are guilty or innocent?
I would like to say out loud that I have done nothing wrong, Barbara. I am innocent, and I think that the judicial system, the upcoming trial will prove that.
All her life, she's been a straight shooter. All her life.
Martha Costaira, Martha Stewart's mother. Mrs. Costaira, let me read to you what the U.S. attorney who brought the charges against your daughter has said. I'm quoting, "This case is about lying."
If these two people had only done what parents have taught their children for eons, even if you're in a tight spot, lying is not the way out.
Does Martha lie?
Truthfully, I can tell you no. And it makes me very angry to hear her accused of lying.
And what would you say to the U.S. attorney who said this?
I think the U.S. attorney may be trying to further his career in bringing Martha down. If he destroys her, he's only doing it for himself.
A week after you were indicted, it was June 9th, you appeared at FBI headquarters in New York. They took mug shots. They fingerprinted you. Was it humiliating? What was it like?
I mean, you see this kind of thing happen in the movies, on television, never expecting that you're going to be mugshot. You're going to be fingerprinted. It hurt. All I can say is all of this is almost incomprehensible to me. But, you know, they have a new electronic fingerprinting machine. They don't even have to put your fingers in ink anymore.
Don't tell me that you were fingerprinted and you said, my goodness, isn't this interesting?
Yeah, I studied the machine. I mean, you have to do something to distract yourself. You have to. I mean, this is...
So you go in there to get fingerprinted, you look at the machine and you say, that's a good thing.
The new machine, it says, you know, you don't have to get that ink all over your fingers.
The same day as your indictment, you stepped down as chairman and CEO of your company. How does it feel to be no longer the CEO of a company that you created and built?
We're a public company. There are very strict rules of corporate governance that have to be adhered to. That I stepped down voluntarily from the position of CEO was the right thing to do at that time.
Overnight, the woman Time magazine once named one of America's 25 most influential people became one of the country's most famous criminal defendants, at a time dominated by corporate scandals that allegedly bilked the public out of billions of dollars. Did you ever think that you would be thought of as a corporate criminal lumped in with such companies as Enron and WorldCom?
Absolutely not, and I certainly don't belong in that category.
Your lawyers have said that you're being made an example of because you're a celebrity and you're a powerful woman in a man's world. Do you think that's the reason?
I certainly have become a well-known and visible symbol of a successful woman. That I am being prosecuted for being such. I don't know if I could really say that, but I think that we are in a difficult time in corporate America where the business is under great scrutiny, and that something involving my personal life has become a focus of my corporate life is wrong and unfair and hurtful.
Coming up, Martha Stewart defends herself.
Arrogant, mean, abusive to underlings, with a terrible temper. Is there any truth to these descriptions of you? Are you abusive?
When 2020 continues.
Accusations against Martha Stewart were growing. When talking with anchor Jane Clayson, Stewart unwittingly made herself into a national joke.
Well, we're going to make salad, but...
We are, but first let me ask you a few things about all that. You've released a statement saying that you were not involved in any insider trading, but you have...
Let's talk about a now infamous incident. You used to be a regular contributor on the CBS early show, and in June of last year, you were on that show, you know what I'm going to say, preparing a salad.
That seems to have put more focus on you and his...
Chopping a cabbage. Now, you must have known that you were going to be asked about that case, but instead you kept chopping that darn cabbage. To many people, this seemed hostile and defensive, and the picture of Martha Stewart with the knife in her hand, vigorously chopping that cabbage. Why did you chop that cabbage?
I was afraid you might remind me of that incident, and to tell you the truth, I have not been able to chop a cabbage since. No more coleslaw for me.
Did you realize how it looked?
No, absolutely not.
And I want to focus on my salad because
one more question about this.
I'm task-oriented, and I was making a salad, and it got out of hand.
You said in that program, I think
this will all be resolved in the very near future, and I will be exonerated.
I know that...
ridiculousness.
Do you think it's ridiculous?
Maybe an unfortunate choice of word, but I believe that I will be exonerated.
Well, still no word on Osama bin Laden, no word on Saddam Hussein, but federal authorities said today they may be closing in on Martha Stewart. So, yes.
To comedians, the scandal was a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Miss Stewart, we're with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Nobody move where the gingerbread man gets it, I swear.
Now take it easy.
I'm not around.
How do you feel when you hear them?
Letterman, Leno, Conan, they don't bother me. They're
Really?
doing their job. No, they don't bother me at all. I consider them friends, actually. But other kinds of satire, other kinds of things that I've seen hurt a lot more.
Like what?
Cartoons of me in prison garb, for example. Very unnecessary, very, very cruel.
There has been a relentless assault of stinging cartoons. Pictures like these have circulated the world on the internet. Decorating the prison, cooking in the prison kitchen, things like that. They hurt? They hurt.
Oh, yeah. They hurt me. They hurt my family.
You know, there are a few people, men or women, who seem to be as much of a lightning rod as you are. You bring out the most profound emotions in people. Martha, why do so many people hate you?
Well, I like to think that each and every one of us has people that love us and people that hate us. I think that's just human nature.
No, not everybody has people who hate them.
Well, the people who you think hate me don't know me. It's hard to describe. I mean, I don't know why people don't like me. I'm not perfect, the perception that I am perfect, I think got kind of mixed up with the idea that what we're trying to teach is the best possible standard out there. I'm going to call this the pearl and rose cake. So if we're going to make a cake, Barbara, my cake can't be a flop. People won't watch my show if I make a flop. I'm not a comedy show. I'm a how-to show.
Were you aware before all this happened that there was this kind of hostility against you?
Oh, there have been jokes about what I do.
Martha Stewart!
Even she has poked fun at herself.
Heavily sedated pets make unusual centerpieces.
Do they ever?
There have been 2 very nasty books and a very nasty film made about you. Did you see that film, by the way?
Parts.
Last May, NBC aired Martha, Inc.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart.
A made-for-TV movie starring Sybil Shepherd.
And cut! Who opened 3 bottles of wine? Do you know how much a good bottle of red wine costs? And for God's sake, did I not ask for Merlot?
How'd you feel when you saw it?
Didn't have too much to do with reality. Not much.
The books and a good deal of this film described you as arrogant, mean, abusive to underlings, with a terrible temper. Is there any truth to these descriptions of you? Are you abusive?
I think that sometimes I may be insensitive, but I have a job to do. I don't want you spending any time on stuff that I say no to. And I may sometimes really think that others should work as hard as I work or concentrate as much as I concentrate. But those traits and that behavior, if it were applied to a man, would be admirable. Applied to a woman, you know, she's a beach.
Do you have a terrible temper?
Not normally, sometimes, but not always.
You have said with some pride that you're a perfectionist.
I think what I've said is that I strive for perfection in what I do.
Do you think that some people are delighted by your downfall? Because, as I heard one reporter say, little Miss Perfect has fallen on her face.
I haven't fallen on my face yet.
When 2020 returns.
What's been the most painful part of all of this?
I think
Martha Castaira Stewart.
It hasn't been all bad news for Martha Stewart. In the midst of the scandal, she was recently honored by her hometown. Even some editorial writers, not necessarily her supporters in the past, have criticized the government's case against her. They join a chorus of loyal fans. I've talked about the people who are hostile toward you. There are also thousands of people who feel just the opposite. You've had something like, what, 65,000 hits on your website?
No, 65,000 emails.
Emails?
Wonderful emails from concerned and lovely people who write me heartfelt messages of support, and I read all of them.
You've read 65,000 emails?
I have indeed. And
in your spare time?
And I thank each and every one of those people for their concern and their support. In addition, there's something called SaveMartha.com.
Stewart supporters have set up a website selling a variety of Save Martha t-shirts, hats, mugs, and aprons.
Where's the picture with me?
Not only does she need the support, so does her company. In the scandal's wake, it has taken a serious blow. Magazine ad sales and circulation have fallen, and ratings of her television show are down. Stewart remains the chief creative officer, but there are signs that the company is beginning to separate itself from its creator. I have in front of me the new magazine, Everyday Food. Now, this is the first one that doesn't say Martha Stewart.
Well, it says from the kitchens.
I know, but that's in small print. Is the company trying to separate itself from you, from the person Martha Stewart?
This is not just the company's goal. My goal, too.
But Martha, this is the first time you've had a magazine come out that doesn't have your name, you know, in big print on the top.
That's okay.
That's not just an accident, is it?
No, it's not an accident. It is a strategic business move on the part of our company.
To try to move it away from Martha Stewart personally?
Yes.
The majority of stock analysts say the success of the company is tied to Stewart and her image. Indeed, since the scandal broke, shareholders have seen the price of their Martha Stewart stock plummet. How much money have you personally lost since all this began?
Well, most of my net worth is in company stock.
Your own company stock?
Yes. And as a result of the decline in the price of the stock, my net worth has been cut at least in half.
I hear the figure that you have lost 400 to 700 million.
Something like that.
You're not exactly poor, but that's a huge amount of what you had.
It's a very big amount indeed.
Will the company survive if you are found guilty?
Well, first of all, I don't think I'll be found guilty. I think we have a strong company, a viable company.
What do you say to your shareholders?
I think my shareholders understand the situation, and they too are waiting for January.
On January 12th, Martha Stewart will go on trial and face a jury which will determine her fate. Do you think you'll win this case?
I think I will win this case and be proven innocent of any wrongdoing, yes.
Even if Stewart is acquitted, her legal problems are far from over. She still faces several lawsuits from angry shareholders and a civil charge of insider trading brought by the Securities and Exchange Commission. What's been the most painful part of all of this?
I think a delay in a good life, a hiatus in a really fine existence. At my age, there's no time for an unexpected, undesirable, unwanted hiatus. None. One that you can't really control. It's difficult.
Especially for a lady who's used to controlling.
Well, especially for a lady who has lots more to do.
Martha, it is possible that you could be sent to prison for up to 30 years. Are you scared?
Who wouldn't be scared? Of course I'm scared. The last place I would ever want to go is to prison. And I don't think I will be going to prison, though.
Is there any way to prepare yourself for that?
I don't think so.
Do you feel you've already been punished?
I think the last year and a half has been the most difficult part of my life. It has been maligning and horrible, but I'll get through it. I would like to pick up where I left off, get on with my good life, and do good things and good works.
And what happens right now is not a good thing.
It is not a good thing.
Early next year, Martha Stewart's future will be in the hands of a jury. We'll be right back.